Baruch Hashem. Everything is good. Hashem is taking care of us. Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we are discussing we are in Semicha program in Taarovot, Siman Kuf, and we are in middle of paragraph Aleph, and the subject matter we're dealing with is about permission and prohibition that were like together in liquid for 24 hours, right? And we said that the permission is receiving the taste from the prohibition and becomes to be prohibited like it was cooking together after 24 hours, okay? In the Gemara in Masechet Chulin, it's called kavush harei kemvushal, okay? So the term, the halachic term for this pickled process is called kavush, okay? Now, when you hear me saying like pickled, so you think probably about like with salt, vinegar, all kinds of things like that. But right now, what we're talking about is without those things. If it's with those things, so it can be even less than 24 hours. Okay, just like with water, just with like whatever, liquid, wine, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah. One of the classical examples is if you have like a piece of meat that was left in like inside of some vessel with some blood. Yeah, if you like you did shchita, you're cutting you're butchering the meat, and you have like some piece that is like staying there. You didn't get washed, somebody forgot it in the, and it was like left inside of the blood. So that's also like pickled. So it absorbs the blood and then it becomes to be prohibited because blood itself is prohibition. So even if you wash it afterwards and it looks fine, but it's already prohibited. You have to sell it in non-kosher market, whatever it is. Yeah. Anyhow, keeping on reading from where we left off yesterday. סדר שולחן ערוך, אם הוא כבוש בתוך ציר או בתוך חומץ, עם שעה כדי שיתננו לעור וירתיח והתחיל להתבשל, הרי הוא כמבושל. Okay, so now we're going back to that subject matter of if it's inside. In a way, the way we measure it is I'm estimating that object that was left inside of the liquid. If that volume was water that I'm putting on the fire, in the kettle on the fire, how long it will take to boil. Yeah. So let's say, for example, if this is the size of the piece, yeah. So that's not a lot, right? So to boil that water, that amount of water inside of a little pot will take minute, 2 minutes, right? If you have like normal flame, not too big, not too small, normal flame, so probably 2 minutes. So that will be the measure. Yeah. If you have like a big chunk, something, so then it can be like half an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. Yeah. So you make an estimation. Obviously, it's not like you can't say like something like exact that like on the point. Yeah, but there's a way to measure. Okay. Now, so what happens if you don't have that time? It didn't have so long on the fire, as if, yeah, it's not on the fire, but like if it was inside of the liquid with the vinegar or the salt for, let's say, 5 minutes instead of an hour, or 1 minute instead of 2, whatever it is, less than that. So then it's ne'esar kedei klipa. It becomes to be prohibited in the measurement of a shell, meaning you have to peel it off and the rest inside will be permitted. Yeah. Okay. It's called ne'esar kedei klipa. You have to peel it. And now the question is, how thick should be the peel? So the measurement of kedei klipa, it means as thick as you need that you can pick it up as one. Yeah. Obviously, also that is not like very clear because different materials, different like things will, some things, even if it's very thick, you can't pick it up, like something that is like whatever, overcooked. So you can't pick it up. But something that like you think about it without cooking, like normal. Yeah. So it's like, let's say I'm just like my estimation, 3 millimeters, something like that will be like, I think, normal thickness for a peel. Yeah, when you're peeling off like tomatoes, potatoes, whatever it is, you peel them off. So how thick is the peel? A few millimeters, not more. Yeah, even that is quite a lot. But let's say like 3 millimeters that will be kedei klipa, I believe. Okay.
So the test doesn't impregnate the middle, only the
because it didn't have enough time, right? Because it didn't have enough time. Okay. So now we need to see the Beritev Dalet. The Beritev is talking about that vinegar thing, yeah? שק המחבר, דבחומץ צריך גם כן לשרות מעת לעת אין שם. לכן העלה באמת, דבחומץ שווה לשאר משכין, שלא נאסר עד שישה מעת לעת. Okay, so we see that what we read about the vinegar is not so simple. Here is talking about tzir or chometz. Tzir, it means with salt, yeah, salty water, or chometz or vinegar. So it seems that vinegar is like salt. So the Beritev is telling us, but in a different place, the Shulchan Aruch is saying that vinegar is like regular liquid. It doesn't have that like special strength like salt. Yeah. Actually, like Lemaisa, you see that people are doing pickles in vinegar without salt. So it has that strength of like cooking that it preserves. Anyhow, it's not, there is a side of leniency in vinegar more than salt. Salt, for sure, you have to be more stringent. Vinegar, you can be a little bit more lenient because there is a side of it will be prohibited only after 24 hours. Okay. Paragraph A of the Beritev, let's see. עיין לעיל סימן ס"ט, כתב השייח מיהו על כל פנים מליח כרותח חייב מיד לאסור כולו. Okay, so on the vinegar we said there's a side of being more lenient. In the salt we have a side to be more stringent. That even without that time of putting it on the fire and let it boil, just immediately got to be prohibited. Okay, according to like what the Shach brings from Siman Samechted. Yeah. נפקא מינה איך דנשרה בציר של היתר איסור דרבנן והיתר כחושים ממש למליחה אף להרע ואינו אוסר רק כדי קליפה. Okay, so he's bringing us like very like a specific case that will be the difference between those two opinions. Shalom Aleichem. That what is that specific case? That you have like something like salty water or something like that, and then inside of that you have rabbinical prohibition, okay, with permission that both of them are lean, both of them are not fatty. Okay, so in a case like that you have like also it is lean and also it is rabbinical prohibition. So then says the Beritev, even according to the Ramah that is more stringent, that will be only isur kedei klipa. The prohibition is only thick shell that you have to peel it, like we said before. Okay, and if you wait for the time that it takes it to boil, so then everything becomes to be prohibited. Okay, so in that case, that will be like that special case that will apply that principle according to the Shach. But other cases, if it is fatty or if it is the Oraita prohibition, so any other case except of this specific case that we said, any other case will be, everything will be prohibited immediately according to the Ramah. Okay? Bet. חום של כלי ראשון שהיד צולדת בו. Okay, so that was about pickling. Now then this new paragraph bed is about regular like cooking, heat, yeah, barbecue, so anything like that with heat. Okay, not by pickling, not by salt and vinegar. So first of all, let's define the degree of the heat that you're talking about. Yeah, meaning in other words, how hot is hot that it will be considered to be hot, that it will make that process of taste transformation from one to another. Okay, So basically the temperature that we're talking about is yad soledet bo, that the hand is removed from it, meaning you're not comfortable to put your hand there. Yeah, most of the people. But lamaise, as you know, there is people that are not heat sensitive. Yeah, me personally, I can hold something that is quite hot for other people, and it doesn't really bother me. I have a friend that something that is like for me, it's not like, it's like warm, not even hot. He can't touch it. For him, it's like boiling. It's like very sensitive. So the sensitivity of the people is not the same. So how can you say yad soledet bo? One person is yad soledet bo, for other person is not yad soledet bo, right? So the advice for that is to estimate in your mind, in that degree of heat, would you be comfortable to put it on a belly of a baby? Okay, so that's something that even for me, that I'm not sensitive to heat, but I will consider something that is like it becomes to be like dangerous for a baby. I wouldn't dare to put it on his stomach, right? So for me, it doesn't bother me, but I can understand that for other people it will bother them. Okay, so that's a way to measure. Now there is a, I always like get it mixed between the Fahrenheit and Celsius, but I think in Israel it's Celsius, right? The way they measure the temperature. So I heard that in the name of Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal, that he was the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim, first generation, that he said he had a certain a certain way to get, he got to 45 Celsius heat. That will be yad soledet bo. So like that and more, that will be yad soledet bo. Less than that is not yad soledet bo. That was his his shita, and many rabbis are going with it. It makes sense, you know, when someone is taking like a hot shower or hot bath. So usually it will be like 40 degrees about. So 45 is always it becomes to be like too hot for most of the people, right? So 40 degrees is normal. 45 is like too hot. So 45 is already yad soledet bo. Okay. Anyhow, so that's the degree of the heat that we're talking about. Okay, and then it says mevashel ve'oser kulo. What does it mean mevashel ve'oser kulo? If you have that degree of heat of yad soledet bo, then that will be hot enough that it will cook and make the prohibition to transfer, to make the permission to be prohibited. Okay. אבל חום של כלי שני אינו מבשל. Okay, but in the other hand, we have a principle that is brought down in many places, in the Gemara, also in Gemara Shabbat, also in Hulin. כלי שני אינו מבשל. When you have second vessel, it doesn't cook. What does it mean, second vessel? So I have the pot that was standing on the fire, yeah, and then I'm taking that pot that was standing on fire and then empty that to another pot or bowl or whatever it is. So that second vessel is not lo mevashel, but it can be more than 45 degrees. But this is the rule, okay? The kli rishon is mevashel 45 degrees and more. Kli sheni is lo mevashel, that will not cook even if it's more than 45 degrees. Okay, so for us in our scientific mind, so it doesn't really make sense. It's like contradiction, like make up your mind, go according to temperature. But you see that was the rules of Chazal. Okay, now there is all kinds of explanations to that. One of the explanations that for me it makes sense more than others is the Tosfos, that the Tosfos says that why the kli sheni no mevashel, because the walls of the vessel are cold. So then even though there is a heat, but the heat goes down, it breaks down. The kli rishon that stands on the vessel, on the fire, so even though it might be less than the degrees on the heat, but it goes up, it builds up the heat. So that makes a difference. Anyhow, there's many explanations about it. There's many rabbis that wrote about it. If you want, you can do your own research and find all kinds of interesting answers about this. But this is the rules, okay? So let's go over it again. If you have kli rishon, 45 degrees and more it becomes to be din of cooking, mevashel, and then everything becomes to be prohibited. All the permission receives the taste of the prohibition. If you don't have 60 to nullify the taste, so it becomes to be prohibited. Fine. If you're talking about kli sheni, generally kli sheni is lo mevasher, but you can have the kli sheni and you pouring from the kli rishon. Okay, that's called irui mikli rishon. I'm taking that pot that was on the fire, and I'm emptying that on something that I have in the kli sheni. So that's not kli sheni. That's a thing for itself. Irui mikli rishon, that is also cooking. Okay, when you have, but it's not as strong as the kli rishon itself, but it's more than kli sheni. If you have like something that is like in the kli sheni and then you drop something inside, so it's not so, doesn't receive so much like heat. But if you pouring on it from the kli rishon, so it receives more heat. Yeah. For example, example for that in my house, for at least sometimes I'm doing like quick oats. The halachic term for that is called irui, is kalei bishul. Okay, kalei bishul, something that is very easy to cook. Yeah. So for example, quick oats or tea leaves, or like there's many things that is like very, very quick to cook. You don't really need to cook them. It's enough to have them in boiling water, and it will be cooking. Yeah. Ores, no, ores, it have to stand on the fire for a while. Yeah, you have there is like quick rise that is like half cooking and then they dry it. So then you don't need like full cooking. But even that you need 5 minutes. It's not like immediate. You don't like you can't like just pour boiling water on it and it will be. There is a how they call it, they have like a manachama can like instant. Yeah. So those kind of products is obviously that's kalei bishul. Right, that's the whole reason they're doing it, that you don't need to cook them, right? Anyhow, so kalei bishul is it can be cooked even in kli sheni, and there is a stringency of the Ashkenazim that even irui mikli sheni, even when you pour it from the kli sheni on something, it will also be enough that it will cook. So that's a machloket, but that's a, so for example in Shabbos, okay, I'm going like totally off the subject, but I'm sure it can be practical for many people. So I'm explaining as much as I can. So there's many people that they want to have tea in Shabbos. Yeah. So how do you make tea? So preferably you make like essence, like a concentrate tea before Shabbos, and then when you want to make the tea, so you just put a little bit of the concentrate tea inside of your cup of the hot water, and you're fine. You don't have to do anything with the cooking. Yeah, there is people that they buy something like Nescafe, but with tea. They have that today. That is like instant tea. That it doesn't need it's not with leaves. Okay, so that's fine also. Nescafe, Nestea, whatever it is, that's also fine. But if you don't have those, you don't have any of the above, you have the tea bags, regular tea bags, and you want to make yourself tea. So how do you do that? Okay, so there is those like a stringent approach that is according to the Chazon Ish, that is like the most strict, that you can't do it. Period. Like you like as long as the water, you can put like a tea bag in cold water. It will give some taste, but it's not tea. Yeah. So that will be fine, obviously. But as long as you can make the tea from that, so even if you'll pour it from one cup to another, as long as it's hot enough to make the tea, so you can't make the tea. That's a Chazon Ish, and Rav Nebenzahl here in the old city. That is what is held by. Okay, there is a possibility to anyone that wants to take that stringency of the Chazon Ish. Oh Hashem, good for him. Me personally, I didn't take that stringency of the Chazon Ish, and I'm just making sure that I don't have the irui mikli sheni. So I take that, let's say I have like a boiling water, yeah, on the, how do you call it, meicham, Not hot plate. Okay, on the hot plate, whatever. Yeah, so I have a pot on the hot plate, and I'm taking a cup from that. So that cup is kli sheni, right? The pot is kli rishon. This cup is kli sheni, right? Then I'm pouring this cup to another cup. So this cup is kli shlishi. And inside of the kli shlishi, I'm putting my tea bag. So it's just hot enough to make the tea. Okay, but it's not kli rishon, it's not kli sheni, and it's not even irui mikli sheni. Okay, I don't want to put the tea bag inside of the third cup and then to pour from the second on that. I want first to pour the water that will be in that third vessel, and then to put the tea bag inside. And then also for the Ashkenazim, it's fine. Sfaradim can be more lenient, that irui mikli, that even in kli sheni, I believe. In kli sheni, no, irui mikli sheni. The irui mikli sheni is permitted for the Sfaradim. So you can put the tea bag first, and then to pour from the cup that you took, you can pour on that.
In the second cup.
Yeah, the second cup, which is a kli shlishi, the third vessel. Yeah. Okay. So we went like a little bit of a detour. What?
For coffee, you said?
Coffee is much easier because the tea leaves, they just dry it. They never cooked it. But the coffee beans, they roast it. Okay, it's roasted and then they grind it. And if it's not coffee, so for sure you can do everything, whatever you want. Instant coffee, for sure you can do whatever you want. But even the like what they call in Israel black coffee, the grind coffee, the natural, not instant coffee. So then you're getting into another loop of, is there cooking after roasting? Okay, in Shabbos there's a whole discussion about it. So the Ashkenazim are strange about it, the Sfaradim are linear about it. So for Sfaradim, you can just take that coffee and pour the boiling water right there on that, like on the coffee, no problem. For Ashkenazim, you have to put first the hot water and then to put the coffee on top of that.
This conversation on Shabbat.
Yeah. Okay, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So you have a little chazara. Okay, good. Okay, so the Sfaradim, they don't hold to the stringency of bishul achar afiyah. So if it was roasted, so there's no bishul in that anymore. It was already roasted.
Okay.
So you can pour the boiling water on top of the coffee because the coffee was roasted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The coffee is like we have in the yeshiva. Are those considered?
Whatever, any coffee. They don't sell like raw coffee that was not roasted. No one is selling that. You can, like somebody that is really going out of his way can get like raw coffee beans, but any coffee shop that you go, you buy like coffee, so it's roasted. Anywhere in the world.
Like the instant coffee?
Instant coffee, everybody, Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, Temani, everybody can do whatever they want with it. There's no, you cannot cook the instant coffee because the instant coffee it went through cooking. How they make the instant coffee? You know, I'll tell you. They make coffee. They make coffee, and then they take the liquid of the coffee and they pour it into a long chimney of hot air.
Wow.
And then the hot air is evaporating all the liquid of the coffee, and the powder of the coffee falls on the bottom, and then it rolls and it fills up the jars. So that powder is a remains of coffee that was already cooked, was already made. So also for Ashkenazim, there's no bishul achar bishul. Everybody agrees that there's no bishul achar bishul. The question between the Sfaradim and Ashkenazim is there bishul achar afiyah or not? Yeah. So for Sfaradim, there's no bishul achar afiyah. For Ashkenazim, there is bishul achar afiyah. Anyhow, let's go back to Yoredea. So let's read it again. So when you have the heat of the first vessel that you have yad soledet bo, the hand is removed from there, we said 45 degrees, then you have the bishul, and then all the permission becomes to be prohibited because it absorbed that taste of prohibition. אבל חום של כלי שני אינו מבשל. The heat of the second vessel doesn't make bishul, doesn't cook. So it doesn't make the transformation of the taste. So the permission didn't become to be prohibited. Okay? יש אומרים שגם אינו מפליט ואינו מבליע. Okay? So because we know that the kli sheni is not מבשל, is not doing the cooking, so we estimate that the same thing will be that it will not make the maflit and mavliya. Maflit, it means extract the taste, and mavliya, it means absorbs the taste. So if there is no maflit and mavliya, because it's not hot enough, so the permission stays permitted, right? ויש אומרים מכל מקום הוא מפליט ומבליע ועושה כדי קליפה. There is more stringent opinion that holds that there is a transformation of taste, even in kli sheni. Obviously, it's not like kli rishon, but there is a little bit of maflit and mavliya, so that it will make prohibition kedei klipa, a shell tick. So you have to peel it again. Okay? וראוי לחוש להיזהר בדבר לכתחילה. Okay? So the Shulchan Aruch usually doesn't say those words, but here he says it, that you should be careful about it lechatchila, to begin with. Okay, so what does it mean to begin with? If you ate it, it's not a clear prohibition. You didn't like break the Torah. If you didn't peel it, you ate it as it is. So there is an opinion that holds that it's permitted. Okay, so after the act happened to be that's what you ate, so you don't have to give lashes to yourself too much in Erev Yom Kippur, just a little bit. אבל בדיעבד מותר בלא קליפה, ובהדחה בעל מסג. I was joking about the lashes. That's not the point. The question is, if it was cooked, like, let's say, for example, another thing, yeah, let's say you had a piece of meat like that. You should have peeled it, lechatchila, but you didn't peel it, and you already cooked it in another pot, in a chulent, in a soup, whatever it is. So now it's already b'diavad. You can't. It will not mean anything to peel it right now because it was already cooked again with something else. That will be b'diavad. That will be after that. So it's permitted according to Shulchan Aruch. Okay. But the minimum is that you have to wash it. Okay. You have to wash it. Okay. Now. The Rama here, the small letters of the Rama, it brings that really in the previous simanim of Samechet, Tzadik Bet, Tzadik Hey, Basar V'Chalav, all of those simanim that we already learned. So we have all of those laws of Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni, Irui. So it's not bothered to go over it again and to give everything over again. Okay, so anyone that is interested, all of that is available on the YouTube channel. Okay, Semicha program in King David Kabbalah, and there's a playlist of Semicha program, so you can find those classes there. Now we need to read the Ba'eretev here, Vav. Okay, Ba'eretev Vav. Where is that? Okay, that's a long one. כתב אשר אפילו דבר שדרכו להדיח אחר כך, אז מותר להניחו לגבי איסור צונן. Okay, so we have a concept that we discussed before that is something that normally people will wash before the use. Okay, for example, let's say today in my house, I took potatoes from the box, and before I use them, obviously I wash them because there's some remains of soil, right? Dust, whatever it is. So anyone that is taking something like that, before he will put it in the pot, he will wash it. Everybody, also non-Jews. It's nothing to do with kashrut. Yeah. So something like that normally someone will not just use it. He will wash it before he's using it. So because we know that you're going to wash it, so you can put it even lechatchila on something that is not kosher. Yeah. So let's say, for example, I have a workbench in the kitchen, wherever I'm cooking, and on that workbench there was a non-Jew before me that he was cutting non-kosher meat on the workbench. So I have the remains, the fat, or whatever it is of that non-kosher meat that was there, or blood, whatever it is. Yeah. So can I put the potatoes there? I'm just preparing it. I'm not going to put it in the pot yet. It was not washed. I'm just putting it like out of the box on the workbench, and then from there I will wash it, and then I'll put it in the pot. So that will be fine. I can put it on that non-kosher thing because obviously I will wash it before I'm going to use it. Okay. Now, obviously that is when there's no heat there. Yeah? The prohibition, the permission is not hot. If you would have talking about something that is hot, yeah, I'm taking like a hot potato. I don't also need to wash it before, right? Because it was already washed. If I cooked it, so probably it was washed. But I'm trying to think about an example, something that is hot that you will wash it before you're using it. I don't know if you have an idea, whatever it is. If there is something like that, maybe there's a halakha. People don't know it so much, but there is a halakha about liver that when you're roasting liver, so before you can have it, you need to wash it. Most of the people they don't know it, but it's also not like b'diavad. No, it's fine. So some people they don't do it altogether, but lechatchila should wash it. And it's not the best example, but anyhow, if you have something like that is something that you are about to wash, everybody will wash it. And one of the sides, or the permission or the prohibition are hot, so then you can't put it one on top of the other, even though you're going to wash the permission before you're going to use it, because the heat will make the taste of the prohibition to go in. So it's not enough to wash it then. You will need to peel it or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So with all of that introduction that we just said, so the here you have to be extra careful about it. Okay, so you can't rely on that permission that we just said before. Okay, why? Because there's heat, right? You have to be careful. כתב עוד, מכל מקום יש להחמיר ולעשות בכלי חדש, בכלי שני, אם היד צולדת בו. So it says you have to be careful in any case, even in kli sheni, as long as the hand is removed from there, right? That's the extra stringent of the Ashkenazim. במקום שאין הפסד כל כך, if it's not a big loss, be careful about it, meaning don't eat it, don't have it. Unless it's a big loss, that's all what you have to eat, so fine, eat it. כן, בדבר מאכל יש לקלוב במקום שאין הפסד כל כך. Okay, and in any case that you can peel it, it's not a big loss, peel it.
This is used for restaurants.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, this siman is very, very essential to anyone that wants to deal with the kashrut, also in a private kitchen, but also for sure in a restaurant. Yeah. כן כתב, אין הפסד כל כך, אבל על כל הפנים אין לאסור כולו בכלי שני. So in any case, in kli sheni, we will not say that everything is prohibited. Okay, maximum you have to peel it. Okay. גם דעת התז להחמיר בכלי שני כל שהיד צולדת בו, אם לא בהפסד מרובה, בדבר חשוב. Okay, the taz is also stringent in kli sheni. If the hand is removed from there, it's יד צולדת בו. If it's not a big loss, it's not something that is important, so it's better to be stringent according to taz. כן, כל החומרות שנזכרו בסימן צדיק ד' בעניין בן יומו, אבי בכלי שני גם כן. So what we spoke about in Siman Tzadik Daled, which is part of the halachot of Basar v'Chalav, right? So all of that will apply also here. Yeah. As long as you have the vessel that is Ben Yomo, that was like you use that in the same day for prohibition or whatever, not you, someone who used it. You will have all those stringencies there, here as well. Okay. כמו שאמר הרמה שם, אם לא בהפסד מרובה ודבר חשוב, יש לסמוך הרמה. Okay, so if it's not the big, so the Ramah there was more lenient, but here we see that there's more stringency. So if it's not a big loss, if it's not something important, you should be stringent. But if it is big loss for you, yeah, you're losing too much money with if you're stringent, so you can be lenient. Okay. מי הוא בדבר זה חולק התז? משהו מדבריו שאוסר כולו. So the Taz is lenient about it. No, the Taz is stringent about it, excuse me. Okay. השאר כתב שאינו עושה רק כדי קליפה. Okay, so let's make it more clear. The Rama is more lenient. The Shach is intermediary, says כדי קליפה, you have to peel it. And the Taz says לכתחילה, you should throw it away. Everything is prohibited unless it's a big loss or it's very important, whatever it is. So then you can rely on the lenient opinions. Okay. Now I'm reading the brackets. אין מה שאמר עלי סימן צדיק ד' שם ההרשעה ודבר שהוא אב כמו חתיכת בשר רותח שדינו כלי ראשון. Okay. So we have something that is called in Ilhot Shabbos Dvar Gush. Yeah. If you have like a piece of something so it holds the heat. Yeah. Let's say, for example, when you're taking like a hot potato from the fire, whatever it is, and you put it on the table on a plate, so it's kli sheni, right? But if you open it, so inside it's boiling hot, right? Even though you put it on a kli sheni, but the process of cooling down is not affecting the inside of it so quickly, right? So when you have like something that is a solid piece of something that was inside of kli rishon, it's boiling hot. So even though you put it on kli rishon, on kli sheni, it have the law like kli rishon. Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's like kli rishon. Okay. So there's a whole like discussion about it, what to do in a case like that. Yeah. But Lemaise, we are stringent about it. Okay, if it's something that is like we said before, big loss, very important. So maybe you can rely on the lenient opinion that it was on kli sheni, so you can rely on it. But לכתחילה, you have to treat it like kli rishon. Okay. כתב עוד השאר אפילו בעירוי שנפסק קילוח מבליע. So now we spoke about pouring liquid, yeah, from one vessel to another. So within that, so in Hebrew that's called irui, yeah. To pour from one vessel to another is called irui, la'arot. Yeah. So within irui you have two possibilities, or nifsak kiluach or lo nifsak kiluach. Meaning, I can pour a little bit and then tilt it back. So it was like the liquid was like dropping down, but then it stopped. It's not connected to the vessel anymore because I tilt it back, so that like a little bit of liquid is like by itself in the air. So that's called nifsaka kiluach. The pouring, it was pouring, but it stopped. Okay. The second possibility is that I'm keeping on pouring, so it's like it's still flowing. Yeah. So it's connected to the vessel that kli rishon or kli sheni, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All of those things, by the way, each one of them there's a whole sugya behind it, like marot, rishonim, achronim, so much Torah, so much. I'm just giving you like the bottom line, the conclusion of the conclusion of the conclusion. Yeah, them like a very, very small summary, but like each one of those concepts, you can learn it like for a whole month and even few months if you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper and see like there's like so many like nuances and different opinions how to analyze that situation, whatever. Anyhow, so if you have irui with nifsaka kiluach, that the stream is breaks, so it's not connected to the first vessel, so you can be more lenient, obviously. Yeah. When you're still connected to the first vessel, so you can say that that even though it's not in the first vessel, but it's like in the first vessel because it has the strength that is coming straight and it's connected back to the first vessel, so it has more strength, and then you should be more stringent. Okay.
So what if it stops? What happens? It stops.
That עירוי מכלי ראשון ולא נפסק הקילוח, you have to be more stringent than עירוי מכלי ראשון that נפסק הקילוח. Same thing about כלי שני. עירוי מכלי שני that נפסק הקילוח, you can be more lenient than עירוי מכלי שני לא נפסק הקילוח. Yeah. When you have לא נפסק הקילוח, that the stream is still flowing, so there's much stronger side of stringency there to say that it's like the vessel that you are pouring from.
How
Yeah.
does it stop? Like it's sort of like the flow, it's not connected to the flow, right?
Yeah.
So how do you float into it? Like into another vessel, or what?
No, for example, look, let's say you have a tea kettle. Yeah. I just said it like yesterday. So you can like pour a little bit and back and go back. So it drops like a certain amount of liquid and it stops. So usually people are not doing those games like pouring, backing, but it's possible to do.
Oh.
Yeah, if somebody have a reason to do it. So for example, myself, I wanted to stir the tea inside of the tea kettle. So I'm doing like that, like movement like that. So it's kind of stirring it while I'm pouring. Yeah. So for me, like it's something that I'm using that kind of way. But some people they don't think about it. But it's if you know about it, so it can be useful. Yeah. For example, if you're pouring wine for someone that you don't trust him that is keeping Shabbat, so you don't want that he's holding the cup. It's better that you'll hold the cup and then you pour to the cup and then you serve him the cup. But if he's holding the cup, he didn't give it to you, and he wants you to pour to him. So if you pour it to him in a way that it's nifsak kiluach, so you won't have a problem with the wine that is still in the bottle, because nifsak kiluach. But if you'll pour it in a way that is like the kiluach is not stopping, so then if it's true that he's breaking Shabbat publicly, so you have a problem with the wine that was left in the bottle, for example. When you understand those nuances, so you can use it in certain ways. So like okay, fine, there's like we can like keep on discussing it, but really we run out of time. I just want to finish this by Retev. So he's saying that נראה אם יראה מכלי ראשון על התרנגולת למולגה. Okay, so do you know what is מליגה? No. Okay, fine. When you shechting a chicken, you're slaughtering a chicken. Yeah, you want to get the feathers out of the chicken, right? You don't like to eat the feathers. Okay, so how do you take the feathers out? So if you just kill the chicken, you can pull it very, very easily because the chicken is warm, so the feathers are pulled very quickly. But let's say you had like 100 of chickens that you are slaughtering, like, and then after like the whole thing, then you want to take out the feathers. So now because it cooled down, so it's very hard to pull out the feathers. Okay, so what is the system to do it? Is meliga. You put those chickens in something that is like that will warm them up again, and then it's easy to pull out the feathers. Okay, so in the non-kosher market, they have a machine that you put the chicken inside, and with steams, it takes out all the feathers like very, very easily. Yeah, with steam. Give it like a very strong steam and everything is out. But in the kosher market, it's not possible because the steam is cooking the chicken and you didn't do melicha yet. So you can't use this machinery.
So you have to do it by hand.
So yeah, you can use machinery, but it's different machinery, not with the steam. And you cannot do it in the irui from Kli Rishon, for example. It's cooking and you cannot cook with the chicken because you didn't do the melicha yet. Yeah. So what do you do? So you have to do it in Kli Sheni. You have the Kli Sheni. Let's say like you took the water, you boil the water, you pour it to Kli Sheni, and then you put the chicken inside. You let it stay there for a while to get warm again, and then you can take out the feathers, or by hand, or they have a machinery that is like pulling the feathers very, very quickly. Anyhow, so that's what he's saying. Yeah, אם ירה מכלי ראשון על התרנגולת למולגה ונפסק כקילוח. So if you had you were pouring from kli rishon on the chicken by mistake, yeah, instead of pouring first to the second vessel and then put the chicken inside of the hot water, what you did, you had the chicken in the second vessel and you poured from the first vessel on the chicken. So that's irui mikli rishon. So then again, if you say lo nifsaka kiluach, so it's still pouring, so it's like kli rishon, then you have a problem. You have a problem. You have to consider what you do. You have to peel the chicken, take out the skin. That will be enough. Okay, that will be a problem. But if it's nifsaka kiluach, so you can be more lenient. B'diavad, lechatchila, you shouldn't do it this way. But if it was nifsaka kiluach, so you can be more lenient. So then it says nifsaka kiluach and tzarich efilu klipa. Okay, you don't need to peel it, so it's fine. B'diavad.
So is it still considered kli rishon?
No, that's if it was considered like kli rishon, so then you have a problem. So lo nifsaka kiluach is like kli rishon, but nifsaka kiluach, so you can consider it like kli shani.
Okay.
That's a lenient opinion. So so it says that אינו מפליט ומבליע כאחד, אבל מכל מקום מבליע. So you don't have the maflit and mavliya. It doesn't extract and absorbs, but it does absorb. So it's not enough, yeah, just one side, or extract or absorb. So it says, צריך עיון דעה בסימן הנ"ל, לא משמע כן כלל. Okay, so there's more discussions about it, obviously. כן כתב עוד בכלי ראשון שעומד אצל האש, אף על פי שהיד צולדת בו, יש להחמיר ולומר מפליע כדי קליפה. Now, כלי ראשון, that אין יד צולדת בו. Yeah, you have a pot that you put on the fire, and you warm it, but it didn't get to the temperature of yad soledet bo. So you're calling your rabbi, can I put the chicken inside of the kli rishon? It's not yad soledet bo. The answer is, yesh lachmir, should be stringent. Don't do it. It's better to have it higher temperature in kli shani than lower temperature in kli rishon, like I said in the beginning. Okay? So there is a discussion about it. If somebody did do it, he put the chicken inside or something like that. He put inside of the kli rishon. So there is a side to be lenient, but better to be stringent. Okay, we'll hold it here for today. Thank you very much. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen.